Britney Spears reveals she had a deletion of baby procedure because Justin Timberlake didn't want to be a father.
This is a sickness of the highest order.
Darkness.
The pop icon will release her memoir. Interesting. Britney Spears is sharing a painful experience she's kept private for 20 years. In her upcoming memoir, The Woman in Me, that's kind of ironic because there's possibly a woman in her.
Whoa.
Was. The pop icon 41 reveals that when she dated Justin Timberlake, she became pregnant with his baby, but had to delete the baby. People confirm. It was a surprise, but for me, it wasn't a... Wait, what? It was a surprise, but for me, it wasn't a tragedy? That sounds like a... the getting pregnant wasn't a tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, getting pregnant is not a tragedy. Amen. God bless his life. Amen. I love Justin so much. I always expected us to have a family together one day. This would just be much earlier than anticipated, Spears writes of the pregnancy in the book. But Justin definitely wasn't happy about the pregnancy. He said we weren't ready to have a baby in our lives, that we were too young. A rep for Timberlake did not immediately respond to people's requests for the comment. She writes in the book, if it had been left up to me alone, I never would have done it. And yet, Justin was so sure that he didn't want to be the father. Of course she has her freaking shirt off on the cover. Gosh darn it.
And not
Britney.
a recent photo either.
And not a recent photo. You are almost 50 years old with your shirt off.
She's 41.
Is she?
Yeah.
She's younger than I thought she was.
Yeah, well, she was like a 15-year-old star.
That makes sense. Okay. Well, you're a 41-year-old mom with your shirt off on the cover. It doesn't make it any worse. I mean, Madonna running around here naked. Spears writes of her experience undergoing the termination. To this day, it's one of the most agonizing things I've ever experienced in my life.
Darkness.
You know, this is the part that the pro deletion of baby community never talks about, is the horror of the actual procedure when you go through it. Like, this is not something that's easy on a woman's body. This is not something that's easy on a woman's brain, on her mental state, on her future in terms after she has kids of her own. Everything about this is a violent, traumatic act. Mm-hmm. Like, if you really think about what's happening and what they're doing, it's a violent, it's not clean like going in and taking out an appendix. Like, it's not that. Like, it's way more messed up than that. Keep going. After Spears and Timberlake split in 2002, she went on to become a mother, welcoming two sons, Sean Preston and Jaden James, and her kids. Imagine, like, her kids are grown now. With her second husband, Kevin Federline, Spears will release her much-anticipated memoir on October 27th. Okay, so this is interesting because it presents some challenges. I read a study once, and it's hard to investigate these things, but I read a study once that said that majority of women, 51% of women, claim that the biggest influence in terms of why they deleted the baby was another man. Like, it was either their doctor, it was their dad, or it was their boyfriend and the person they conceived with. This idea of, like, men who are pro-choice, my guy John Clash pointed it out brilliantly. Like, you're not really pro-empowerment of women. Like, you're pro, let me be a scumbag and void my responsibility. And I'm just curious, like, what happens to... I'm curious how many women would still go through this procedure if it wasn't because it was more convenient for a man. See if you could find that study real quick, because I dug deep into this with regards to the overturning of Roe v. Wade and who really stands to benefit from this procedure on demand, right? Like, who really does it really empower women? I don't think so. I think it empowers men to be scumbags. So this is one study: men's involvement in significant, intersecting across the individual, community, and macro factors that shape related care pathways. This scoping reviews maps the evidence from low and middle income countries. And so, yeah, I mean, we can go deeper in it, but from my understanding, it is very common that the people who are most influential in these sorts of procedures are men. It's the boyfriend, it's the dad, it's the doctor.
Yep, which makes sense.
Which makes sense. But it's still, like, you know, it's still sad that, like, somehow this is still paraded as if it benefits women. It doesn't. It harms women. And it sounds like Britney's, you know, sober that it harmed her. So I have a friend who's had this procedure done. All of them are battling severe mental health issues, anxiety, bipolar, and Britney is also not there now. Yes. Does Brit claim it to be sorry at all? She said she regrets it, right?
Oh, yeah.
She said she regrets it.
She said she wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I mean,
she said that it eats her alive.
Yeah,
she also has like a song music video clip that's been going around. You can probably play this. I just want to play the audio.
Oh.
Where she's like singing about like, I see your face at night and all this stuff. And it's like this part of the music video where she's like, where there's like a mom getting a baby.
Wow.
And so people are like, oh, knowing the context of this is crazy, because now we know she's talking about like the baby. She's not talking about Justin Timberlake seeing your face at night and all that stuff.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. And so listen, it's not that I'm biased towards women. It's that I think men lead. Poorly or well, men lead. And so I just always am going to default to like the issues in our society is because men lead. Men lead women astray and trick women into thinking that they're the ones leading, which is leadership, believe it or not, right? Allowing the society to run towards radical feminism. You don't think men benefit from that? You don't think men benefit from a hookup culture? You don't think men benefit from sexual liberation? You don't think men benefit from abortion on demand? And so that's what it is. I think men lead. And I think some men are cowards and lead poorly and lead women astray. And so that's how I view it. It's not biased towards women. It's the reality that men lead, whether or not we want to acknowledge it. And having this crazy finesse that this act empowers women, I think is one of the greatest tragedies of the last 100 years. That this horrible, barbaric act has convinced a generation of women that they're empowered. Ugh. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. I think it's also a part of our culture that TV and movies making fun of true masculinity dads are not in their kids' lives. Abusive men, etc., put in that box. So the patriarchy is alive. Patriarchy's always been alive. Patriarchy's always been alive. It's just good patriarchy.
I just don't think the patriarchy is bad.
Yeah, I just don't think the patriarchy is bad. Good patriarchy rises all ships. Bad patriarchy destroys women and children. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's ever been a question of like patriarchy. It's like, who would you rather be the patriarch? Like these effeminate, like soy boy, you know what I'm saying? Cowards who like, oof, I'm standing for women's rights.
We're way too young to have a baby.
Right? You want them to lead? You want that sort of patriarchy? Ooh. That's what we got now. We got patriarchy, whether you want it or not, bud.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want that kind of patriarchy, well, this is what we got. This is why society is so jacked up. Get rid of faith. Make the dads look stupid, right? And make the women think that they are, their ultimate goal in life is self-actualization. Their ultimate goal in life is how much money and status can they attain. That's what we have now. And what do we have? We have the mental health rates, the highest they've ever been. We have self-deletion rates, the highest it's ever been. We have deaths of despair, the highest it's ever been. We have birth rates, the lowest they've ever been. We got, public school we got. How's that working out for us?
We see according to the Bible that prayer is extremely important in terms of us being transformed from the inside out when we get aligned with God's will. For the Christians watching this channel, I want you guys to implement these spiritual disciplines in your day-to-day life. And the only way I've been able to do this consistently is through writing down my prayers in a prayer journal that does a few things. One, it allows me to reflect and come to God humbly and ask Him to move on my behalf. And two, it allows me to document my prayers, which ultimately help me remember the very things that I was praying for and see the hand of God tangibly in my life when He answers them. So I would urge you, consider writing down your prayers. It could be in a blank notebook. It could even be on your phone. Or you could check out the one I personally designed and used from my own quiet time and spiritual discipline that I think will be a huge blessing. It's the exact structure and system that I've used for years to pray and be more consistent in my spiritual disciplines. You can pick yours up today by clicking the link in the pinned comment below. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.